Right then, so I've started the boot build. I didn't draw anything, basically. You'll watch many other channels where they make stuff and things, you know, Rob Darm and who else? You've got StanceWorks and stuff, they've got computers with CAD machines and all that sort of jazz. I don't have any of that, basically. I just had a look at a load of images online and got some ideas of things. I've built some boot builds and stuff myself before in my old cars and things. So I had a vague idea of how to do things. But yeah, I just looked at ideas and then decided that, well, tell you what, I'll show you. This is what I started off with. So basically, I wanted the subs to be on angles, tilted in some way, and then the amp to be sat nice and pretty central. But with the end result, in my mind, being the subs are going to be sitting slightly lower and the amp's going to be flush with the kind of fake floor that we end up creating. And then after looking through various images and stuff, I wanted to have some sort of shaped cutout that sat over the subs so they look like they're kind of sunk away. But this is what I started off with, really. I placed it in there and told everyone this is what I'm aiming for, and they all went, right, okay, do you want to get on with it then? So that's what I've been doing over the past few weeks. Whenever I get time, I've covered everything in dust and been chopping everything up. But it sounds daunting if you've not done it before. Like I say, I've done a few bits and pieces, cutting stuff up, building things before. So I just applied some of that logic to it, really. But it's not too bad. You can make it as complicated or not as complicated as you want, really. So let's run through it. First off, I got my MDF, and obviously I needed to have a platform to work from. So I cut a large circle that fitted nicely into the bottom of the wheel well, and then so eventually that's then going to get mounted down into, so it's nice and solid. And then I've built off that. So as you can see, I then drew various markings on in terms of like a T-cross, because I need to create two separate boxes for the subs and then an area for the amp. So then I created all my dividing pieces and everything like that so that it can all be mounted onto there. Now, one thing you will notice is in the pictures that there's two little sections that are coming off from where the subs are going to mount, and that is because obviously we need to remember that subs need a certain amount of air and things to work in their enclosure, depending on what sort of enclosure you have, ported or sealed. Now, I'm a big fan of heavy metal, rock, things like that. So with how fast it is in terms of like bass drum beats and things like that, you need a really tight, fast responding bass. So I've found over the years that a sealed box works the best for that, because it's all nice and tight and stays really, really crisp. You can still get a really big, solid, boomy bass from it, for if you're listening to other stuff, hip hop or real bass driven music, because I'm able to do that in my TT. That's a sealed unit, but again, I can play a whole range of stuff in there, but because I predominantly listen to metal and stuff like that, I need it to be able to do that. So I've kind of taken it on really and decided that I wanted this to be able to play everything, because it should be able to play everything. So yes, anyway, where was I? So the boxes need to have a certain amount of volume in them. Now, I looked on the box, the subwoofer boxes that came in, and they've got a suggested volume for the box. Now, because I've obviously, if you imagine that volume is done in a square cube measurement, obviously, because volume is, if you then take off a corner, lower one corner of it, so it's then dropping down, you're reducing that volume. So then what I've done is in the end baffles, I've obviously created the two holes that then go down to the extra little areas. And basically, this is what we've ended up with. So it's kind of a Millennium Falcon, really, isn't it? So obviously you can see we've got subs are going to mount into here. And then, as I was just saying, it's not finished yet, so you have to excuse a couple of the screws that are hanging through. But these are the kind of mid baffles here, if you like, with two little ports that run into these areas here. So even though it's not a fully squared off box, it's still got this volume of air in here to work with, and will still be sealed. Now, admittedly at the moment it's not sealed because I've got these large curved sections. These are a fun thing to deal with. Work that out in a minute. Well, I'll tell you about that in a second. So yeah, like I say, this is what we've ended up with. And actually, it's its own unit that once I've worked out a way of bolting it into the back of the car, it means it's removable. So if we ever had some sort of issue or anything like that and we wanted to take it out, we'd be able to obviously remove the subs or the amp, get to those fixings and lift the whole thing out of the car. So, which is quite cool actually. It wasn't necessarily intentional, but it's, you know, happy accidents and all that sort of thing. So obviously throughout the kind of building of this, we didn't do any sort of like how-to or anything, because admittedly there was an element of just trying to produce the idea I had in my head. So there's been a few little battles that I've had to work out, and there's certain aspects of it that I've not done before. So I just had to, you know, I'd cut a piece of wood, sit it in the back of the car, have a little jigsaw, and I'd sit and look at it for a while and then work out, right, what do I need to do next? So stuff has altered slightly initially. So for instance, because a tricky thing I found was working with a curve. That's the hard thing. Obviously straight stuff's a lot easier. So if we just had straight boxes in there or one box or something, all a lot easier. So working around a curve and trying to fit as much as I can into that space was the tricky bit. So in those pictures you can see that initially I started off with trying to create a two-part box here to stay as curved as possible, but it was just all getting a bit ridiculous. And then I was obviously going to have to try and work out a way of getting around here, and I didn't want to have to do it in lots of little pieces, because then you've got to work out all your angles, get them all cut absolutely perfectly, and then bond them all together so they're all in there. And that was becoming a massive headache. So I've had to think on the fly quite a bit, but you know, that's part of the fun as well, because it's a bit of problem solving. And I think once it's all together and I've cleaned everything up and cleaned and smoothed off all the joints and things like that, and it's all sealed up, it's going to be a pretty smart looking unit, especially as with these two back sections here to create these curved backs, with it being 18mm MDF, which is thick old stuff, it's not going to bend. So what I did, which one's that? That's on that one there. What I did was obviously, because we've got a slight different angle change here, or like a slope change if you like, stays flat around here but then curves up, created a little bowed piece that goes in. But then with a circular saw, I then just created my own kind of bendy MDF. Basically, you can get bendy ply and other pre-cut MDF that's bendy, but yeah, I just kind of did it myself. Angled the blade up so it was only cutting through a certain depth, and then just cut a whole load of lines. So now I've got my own bendy MDF there, like that, you see. So then once I can, took a lot of fettling, admittedly, but that's then going to tuck into there, and then it'll tuck right in. And once it's all been screwed and sealed into place and everything's been screwed down, it'll be nice and tight and solid. And then that'll create the rest of the sub box, which I think's worked pretty well actually. And then, like I say, once those are screwed in either side, everything's been sealed up, I can then sand any kind of corners down and edges like that, and it'll be nice and smooth. And then spray it black, work out some sort of covering material, but I'll talk about that in a minute when I show you the end result I've got in my head. And yeah, that's going to work like that basically. So I think it's turned out all right. It's taken, like I say, it's been a bit of a headache at times. Didn't help last week when I had a hideous cold and you're foggy headed trying to work things out. That was always fun. But yeah, it's all come together. So let's chuck it in the car, and then you can get more of an idea of what it looks like. And I have done a bit of CAD design, bit of cardboard aided work to show that end result, because I think everyone also here, when I was saying to them, oh, there's gonna be a hole here and a thing and it's all gonna be sunk away, people sort of got the idea but didn't quite. So I've sorted that, and it really pulls it all together nicely. So let's chuck it all in and we'll have a look. So this is essentially it. It's all in. Well, I say all in. Shows you how it's all going to sit and how it's all going to work with each other. So at the moment, admittedly, I've just put the amp on a box and a couple of pieces of wood to bring it up to the level that I'd like it to be. And when I create this plinth, it will have gaps underneath it so we can run cables to and from. So that's going to sit kind of roughly there. We'll move that into position in a minute. And then you can see the subs are in, angled down and tilted down. And then, we could leave it looking like this and, it would look a bit strange, I suppose. I could have done maybe a floor that then went round so you can see the whole thing. But my image that I created in my head was this. This is what we're going to end up with, basically. That's going to sit there. So yeah, obviously this is going to be a full floor that covers the whole of the boot. And then that'll be that, you see. So amp's going to sit nice and snug with the boot floor, and then the subs are just going to sink away, adding quite a nice. I think it adds quite a nice little dynamic to the whole thing, really, rather than just sitting there flat looking at everything. It makes them look a little bit cheeky, and then it also gives us a nice opportunity to have some LED lighting that's going to run underneath the bottom edge of here and light down into there, and it'll accentuate all that shape that I've created. And then likewise around the edge of the amp I might have a slightly more of a gap maybe, and then we can have LED lighting under there so it just lights around the edge of the amp as well. But obviously with the amp being flush mounted, it means we can tuck all our cables away, everything can be hidden, and then also can be routed underneath this floor off to where we need to be, going for things like obviously speakers, power, ground, and then the cabling also for the lighting itself. Everything can be run down underneath there. But I will make this panel so it's removable, so that when we're at shows and things, if someone wants to see it, we can then just obviously pop it off its kind of area, the stands that I'll put into place. We'll be able to take it off, get to everything, show it off, or service it in any way that we need to. It's going to work nicely. So I think it's going to be pretty good. It's worked out how I thought it was going to be honest with you, and it's going to look smart, but also still leave us with a functional boot, because once that floor is in, you've got that hole, I'll then create just another final panel that's nice and thin, carpeted, and that can then go in as like a full-on floor that'll hide it all, protect it all, but then mean that you can then just use the boot like normal. Yes, it'll be shallower than it was, but it's not going to be drastically shallower. A few inches shallower maybe than it was, but it's all good. Sometimes you have to lose a bit to gain a whole lot of sound. So I think it'd be worth it. It'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so that's how the boot build's getting on, really. It's doing all right. Made some good progress. Next stage of it now is knock up the plinth for the amp to sit on, and then I've got to take it all apart, because at the moment it's more just in like a dry fix sort of state, just a few screws holding everything together so I could get that full kind of final build. And then I'm going to take it all apart and then rebuild it, but this time by gluing everything together, sealing everything up, making sure everything is absolutely solid and tight and airtight for those subs. And then it'll be done, basically. I'll spray it black, and the faces, actually the baffles for the subs, I'm going to lay over. We've got some foam backed Alcantara, nice and soft, which I'll just run across that one single face there, because that's all that's going to be on view. And then that'll be it. It'll be in. All that area will be done and it can start going in. Then we're on to wiring it up and sorting all that out. Owen's been doing that. He's been doing the wiring so far. Getting the speaker loom down. So if I just 2 seconds. There we go. So we're running this high level input. So we've got the loom that we've been sent that picks up all the outputs and things from the quad lock of the head unit, and brings us the inputs and then obviously the outputs. But we've obviously, the way we're running it with the amp doing the subs and the 3 ways in the front doors, we've got to run some extra speaker cables off for the tweeters and stuff, but that's cool. Owen's on that. So he's been busy doing that and also sorting out the wiring in the doors, separating it all back and stuff. So he's had fun making sure that obviously everything's labelled up, written down, so we know what is going to be doing what when it comes to tuning the DSP, so we can tell, you know, input 1 is, I don't know, driver's door, mid bass or something like that, and then so on and so forth. So he's been doing that, and then we've now got all our power cable and fuse and ground and everything, so then we're going to run that down passenger side, get that all in and off to the battery, yeah, and then run the cabling for a lighting kit. Found a lighting kit we're going to use, that's going to be a nice one. That's going to incorporate door card lighting, footwell lighting, and then the lighting we want to do in the back here. And because it's all going to be together, it means we're going to be able to control it all together, so we can have all different lighting going on, but it will all be the same and work at the same time. So I think that's about it really. I'm going to crack on with making the plinth for this, and then getting this to the point where I can then start rebuilding it, fully glued together and sealed up. Yeah, it all takes time, admittedly. So I guess next episode on the boot build will be out maybe a couple of weeks. We've got an Easter break now, so there's not going to be another episode next week. Week after that will be the next episode, coming up to the end of April, or start of May. And then I think that's going to be on sensors and stuff. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Keep watching. You got any questions, bung them in the comments and things, and we'll try our best to answer them. Hope you're enjoying it. Let us know, and then we'll see you again soon. Take it easy.